My name is Major General Mark Kelly, the Repatriation Commissioner at the Australian Department of Veterans Affairs, and it is my distinct privilege to be your Master of Ceremonies for this morning's dawn service to commemorate the centenary of Anzac and the landings at Gallipoli, the Prince of Wales. His Royal Highness Prince Henry of Wales, the Honourable Tony Abbott MP, Prime Minister of Australia and Mrs Abbott, the Right Honourable John Key, Prime Minister of New Zealand and Mrs Key, His Excellency Mr Volkan Bozkır, Minister for European Affairs for the Republic of Turkey, His Excellency Mr Michael Higgins, President of Ireland, Mr Jean-Yves Le Drian, Minister for Defence for France, the Honourable Lynn Yelich, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs for Canada, Dr Narayan Khadka, Minister for Urban Development for Nepal, His Excellency Mr Vijay Kumar Singh, Minister of State for External Affairs for India.
We gather here at this time on this now quiet beach to remember and to honour those who came from across the world to take their place on this battlefield. 100 years ago today, the quiet stillness of dawn and the gentle sound of the waves of this beach gave way to the flash and roar of gunfire over the painful cries of the wounded. For so many, the rising sun that day would be their last. Each man who landed on these shores harboured his own fears and apprehensions. They worried how they would perform when they confronted the enemy and hoped that when the time came, they would not let their mates down. Thoughts also turned to home and the loved ones that they hoped to return to. Lance Corporal Mitchell, a member of the 3rd Brigade Australian Imperial Force, was one man amongst the first group of Anzacs to land here on the peninsula, for the conquest of the old. The price of failure we knew to be annihilation. Victory might mean life. But even so, whispered jests round, and I remember turning to poor old Peter and asking him how he felt. Good, was his reply. The optimism did not last. The boats had never even reached the shore before the Turkish defenders opened fire.
On this beach, on this day, at this hour, exactly 100 years ago, the first Anzac troops came ashore. Instead of the open spaces that had been described to them, they landed here with steep hills rising in front of this narrow beach. And in those hills, Ottoman Turkish soldiers were already positioned and ready to defend this land. We New Zealanders really think of ourselves as anyone's enemy or as aggressors. But that's exactly how those soldiers would have seen the Anzac and other Allied troops on April 25th, 1915, and in the grinding months of fighting that followed.